What is the difference between replicating and replacing? Let me help you understand that with the help of an example. Imagine Ramesh. Ramesh knows how to stitch a shirt the perfect way. But Ramesh is working from last 10 years and is not able to grow his compensation really well or his skills really well. He also wants to learn how to stitch a suit. He also wants to learn how to stitch a lehenga. But just because he's too good at stitching the right shirts or the perfect shirts for every man out there, he is not getting enough time to learn the new skill. Because of the same reason, he's also not able to increase his compensation. Because at the end of the day, he's got 24 hours. And in those same 24 hours, he's able to stitch only 3 shirts. By the way, that's a really great number. Most of the tailors out there stitch only 1 or max 2. Ramesh is still able to stitch 3 shirts in a day, which makes him the most competent person to do that job. He's not able to grow his compensation or his skill set. And the reason is because he's too good at a particular work. What is he missing? He's not replicating himself. But even after working for 10 years into something, why isn't he replicating? So let's get into Ramesh's mind and try to understand what challenge is he facing while replicating himself or his skill sets to other people so that he can learn how to stitch a suit or a lehenga and or probably how to stitch 10 shirts in a day. Ramesh's mind. If I'm going to teach Suresh how to stitch a shirt like me, why would they pay me that well? If I'll have 5 more people to stitch the shirt, I'll not be valued for what I do. If I'll teach everybody how to stitch the perfect shirt, I'll not be the most competent one out there for which everybody recognizes me. A perfect dilemma that anybody and everybody out there who is doing any profession gets into. Some try to understand it really early in their life and some really late and some almost never. But that is exactly the thing which is stopping them from growing their compensation or their skill sets or their value. Because at the end of the day, it's the value that you bring onto the table for which you get paid. No matter how great of a shirt you stitch, at the end of the day, if you're going to just stitch 3 of them, instead of charging 800 for a shirt, you can charge 1200 or max 1500. But if you're going to stitch 30 shirts in a day instead of just 3 shirts in a day, you'll be able to make much more than what you'll be able to make even after charging a premium for the best quality. So the name of the game is scaling. Able to understand how can I scale the value that I'm providing out there to the business that I'm working for, to the clients that I'm stitching the shirts for, and for myself as well, so that I can get more time to learn the new skill set or grow my compensation. Let me tell you one thing. This is the exact dilemma which 90% of the people out there in the world are into. And they're not able to solve it, even if they really want to. But I can help you solve this dilemma with the help of understanding replication versus replacing. A lot of time, people like Ramesh think that they're going to get replaced by somebody because they have a deep fear inside of them that if they're going to teach this skill set to somebody or if they're going to replicate themselves, they're not going to be valued enough. The problem is they first do not want to get themselves out of that fear. The second problem is they do not want to grow themselves really. They just want to give that excuse that I've got 24 hours, I've got 8, I can, at max what I can do is 3 shirts a day. And still I want to get paid the most out there. Why? Because I'm the best out there. No, the world doesn't really work like that. The world doesn't pay the best person the best value. The world pays the best value to the one who is bringing the best value out. So you have to understand, either you do things in scale or you do the best quality. Typically, even if you do the best quality, you cannot beat the game of scale. And in order to do anything at scale, be it stitching the shirts, be it stitching the suits, or being it developing a code or writing down a code, or being it doing literally anything, you have to understand that until unless you do it on scale, there will not be much value that you will be able to generate for the people out there. And if you'll not be able to generate maximum value for the people out there, you'll not be able to make the max out for you as well in terms of compensation or in terms of time or in terms of skill set. So the point that Ramesh and people like Ramesh need to understand is that the solution to all of your problems of increasing the compensation or increasing the skill sets is replicating themselves and getting out of the fear of replacing themselves. They just think that if they're going to teach something to somebody, they're going to get replaced by them. But that's almost never the case. Why? Because the people who have learned something from you are going to value you for the same. And you can create a team like that, and you can have 10 tailors working for you, stitching the right suits. Even if they're going to produce 2 shirts a day, 10 tailors can do 20 shirts per day for you. And even after paying them, if you can keep a good margin into that, you'll be able to make at least 3 to 5 times more than what you were making earlier by your own, even after you were giving all of your hours to stitch 3 shirts a day, even after being the best. So one has to replicate themselves regularly, and let me tell you in what all ways it helps them. If you'll just understand the difference between replicating yourself and not take it as replacing yourself, things are going to get solved. How? All what you have to do is just find out the people who can do the job that you are doing right now, and just pass on the skill set, pass on the knowledge, pass on the process of doing that particular job to them, so that they do it for you and you get more time to figure out to either do that thing on scale or to do something else which is going to be more valuable for you and more rewarding for you compared to the earlier thing that you were doing. Let me explain that to you with the help of the Ramesh's example. So in this situation, what Ramesh needs to do is find out people who really want to learn how to stitch the best shirts out there. And after finding them out, all what Ramesh needs to tell them is, or teach them, or make them understand is how to stitch the shirt the perfect way, how he stitches it, and how to do it faster. And Ramesh needs to have 10 such people working with him so that he can make 20 shirts a day, which is going to make him more valuable as a team leader. And these people are, just because they've learned that skill from Ramesh, they're going to value Ramesh, and there is still going to be more. And just because Ramesh has got the best reputation out there to stitch the best shirts, he can scale that business, or he can scale that thing as a business or as a team, right? And Ramesh, at the same point of time, after teaching that skill to somebody else and getting the work done from them, whatever they are getting onto their name, can learn how to stitch the suits, how to stitch the lehengas if he wants to. And in the meantime, whatever shirts requirement he is getting, he can pass on to the people that he'll be having by replicating himself. And a lot of time people think the moment people learn how to stitch shirt the best way Ramesh does it, they're not going to work for Ramesh. Of course that's going to happen, and that's the only reason why I'm asking you to do it in numbers, to do it in quantities. Don't just teach this skill or teach how to do it to only one person. Teach it to 5 people. At least 2 will be working for you at the end of the day. So now the question arises, but the other 3 are going to become a competition. Of course they are going to be. But even if you'll stop yourself from stitching the 3 shirts a day thing, there is still going to be some competition that is going to boom up from here and there. So the competition at the ground level is going to be more competitive than the competition as a team lead level, right? And the competition at a level where you are running a factory of 100 people stitching stuff for you, right? So the point is, Ramesh can actually become manufacturing, let's say 10,000 shirts a day. But the only reason why Ramesh is not able to do that is because he does not have big enough of a mindset to replicate himself or his skill sets to the people or to the right people in the right way possible and get them to do the work for him. And he at the same point of time learning new things which are going to provide him the more value and more value to his customers and more value to his people who have joined his team, right? That's process of replicating. And if Ramesh is going to take this process of replicating or as creating his own competition. Any which way the competition is going to get created, right? People who used to stitch shirts 40 years back used to think that this trade is always going to be alive, because at the end of the day people are going to wear shirts, right? They are wearing shirts, but the pre-manufactured ones. They are not purchasing the cloth. They are not giving it to a tailor to stitch it. Everything is happening on scale. So you need to figure out how you'll be able to do things on scale if you really want to create the maximum value for you. If you really want to do things on scale, there is no other choice than replicating something to such a level that even if a person who has got no idea what a cloth is, how to assess the cloth, how to stitch the cloth, how to even like stitch buttons in a shirt, can learn it and understand it in the most efficient way and produce the high quality output, you'll not be able to do it on scale. So the thing is, if you really want to create maximum value for you in any way, either in the monetary terms or in the skill set terms or in the growth terms, you have to replicate yourself either willfully or later in later stages of your life. You'll have to do that forcefully. Believe me, that is absolutely true. Either you replicate yourself willfully at the right time, or you'll have to do it someday forcefully, or your skills are not anymore relevant into the marketplace. And now, just because you've sticked yourself to that particular skill set for 20 years, you have lost the capability to learn anything new. And hence, you have lost the touch with the current market's needs and the skills required to serve those needs. And that is a typical pitfall that people like Ramesh have to avoid in their life. And the best way to avoid that skill set the best way to avoid that pitfall is to replicate themselves as soon as possible, so that they can get themselves free to learn new things in life, to learn new skill sets in life, and to learn how they can do it on scale to produce the maximum value for themselves and for the people around. And let's try to understand why majority of the people out there in workplaces don't do that. Number one, they are scared that they might create competition for themselves, and they'll have to work hard in order to beat that competition and keep on learning regularly. But they any which way have to do it after some point of time. And at the end of the day, what they're going to lose out from it is the valuable time that they've got in their life. And of course, the directly proportional growth that they could have had if they've learned something more and something new earlier. So I say this line very often, that is to get yourself out of business before anybody else does. And that's very much relevant into the fast growing business environment or the world out there. Because considering the kind of competition that goes around, sooner or later, today or tomorrow, someone is going to figure out the way to serve better to their customers. And it's always better that you do it for them rather than somebody else figuring it out. So instead of holding back onto innovating things or growing onto things, whether it be the skill set or whether it be the unique proposition that you're serving out there as a value to the marketplace, it should always be you rather than your competition who should kill yourself, because that's a sign of growth, right? You only learn more when you unlearn certain things or when you leave certain things as nothing, and that's exactly when you grow. You might think that if I'm going to teach certain thing to somebody, they're going to learn it and they're going to be eager to learn it. When you're going to be open to replicate yourself, you're going to find out that nobody actually wants to learn how to do the thing that you do the best. They're just faking around that you're not teaching them enough. The moment you become open to give yourself all away, you'll figure out nobody out there wants to put in the hard work or put in the effort to stitch the best shirt the way Ramesh does. So, and that's exactly when it hits you very, very hard. That even if I am giving them the best of the knowledge that has helped me so much in my life, they do not want to grab it. And that's exactly when you realize that, okay, whatever I hold has got no value to the other people, and nobody can actually replace me because I'm a unique individual who is constantly evolving. and who can only constantly evolve when I'm going to leave some baggage of some things that I have in my life, and I'm going to become open to take care of more. So just do that. Just replicate yourself as much as possible, as soon as possible, as fast as possible, and in the best way possible to grow yourself. I mean, it's not about being so sympathetic or empathetic about growing other people. Of course, that's a part that you're doing, but do it for your own growth. I mean, do it for your own growth. I think this is exactly what is very, very necessary to grow for yourself, rather than just thinking that if I'm going to teach this to this individual, they might grow faster than me or they might grow better than me. If they're bound to grow, they're going to grow anyway. You cannot stop their growth. And yeah, so one more thing that I wanted to say over here is, if you think that Ramesh will teach it to Suresh will value Ramesh for more things to learn in his life. Why? Because when Ramesh taught how to stitch the best shirt to Suresh, now Suresh knows to stitch the best shirt out there, and he's being regarded and valued by the marketplace out there as a tailor who stitches the best shirt. But now Ramesh knows how to stitch the best suit and how to stitch the best lehenga. Who wants to learn how to stitch the best suit from Ramesh and to stitch the best lehenga from Ramesh. So he's going to work for him any which way if he sees that there is more to grab or more to learn from Ramesh, right? So he's not going to replace Ramesh if Ramesh keeps on growing. If Ramesh stops growing, of course that's inevitably going to happen. Whether Suresh works for Ramesh or for somebody else, he is going to stitch the shirts and someday or the other figure out how to stitch the best shirts. But if Ramesh teaches him, there's always going to be that sense of respect, that sense of relationship, and that sense of gratefulness in the hearts of Suresh for Ramesh to keep on working for Ramesh. So you just give all of yours in order to grow, and all what I mean by that is you just replicate yourself as much as possible, as quickly as possible, as fast as possible, as quickly as possible, and as well as possible, and you'll see yourself growing very fast in your life and in your professional career as well. And don't have the fear of somebody replacing you. If you're really, really good enough, nobody can replace you, and you can always constantly evolve and serve a unique proposition or a unique value to the marketplace, because you'll be having more time to learn and explore and grab new things which the market might be looking but is not getting it out there. And just your experience of that particular thing is going to help you learn that really quickly, really fast, and make you the best into that as well. So just don't have that fear. No one's replacing you. You are replicating yourself.